It's nearly 9:25, Saturday morning. You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. Thanks for being with us today. It's time to look at the Saturday morning papers.
Anand Menon is with us. He's Director of UK in a Changing Europe, a source for independent research on UK-EU relations. We'll speak to Anand in a minute. Oh no, we thought we had the front pages, but we don't. We're going straight into the inside pages. This is the big domestic political story of the day. President Trump is set to meet Boris Johnson on his London trip. He's in the Sun, isn't he, this morning? An interview with him where he doesn't wholly advocate him as the next Conservative leader, but he does say he's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very warm about Boris Johnson. He's distinctly cool about Michael Gove, which is the other interesting thing. But this story from the front page of the Times is about the fact that Number 10 are apparently very relaxed about the President meeting with Boris Johnson. Essentially, they say, you know, in the little bit of spare time he's got, he can meet whoever he wants. Obviously, that'll be a bit of a coup for Boris Johnson, because, you know, if you're trying to cultivate an air of being a statesman, having a meeting with the President of the United States isn't going to harm him.
With everyone, though, there might be some people who will see that meeting as being damaging for some votes.
Well, remember that Boris Johnson, at the moment at least, has got to appeal to two audiences. First, to fellow MPs, and then to Conservative Party members. And I suspect with both of those, it probably would be OK. Whether it works with the wider electorate, not so sure.
That's true.
Interesting piece here in the Telegraph today about the Peterborough by-election, and that being the backdrop and how that could affect not just the Tory leadership campaigns, but also what happens within the Labour leadership.
No, absolutely. And I mean, the papers are fantastic today. There's just so much politics all over the place. And,
you say fantastic.
Not everyone will.
Some people would say that's their absolute nightmare.
It's a political scientist's dream today. But, you know, straight out of the European elections, it couldn't be a better time for the Brexit Party. We go into the Peterborough by-election. Peterborough's a town where the Brexit Party did very, very well last week. They found themselves a very popular local candidate who seems to be, you know, popular even amongst the other parties, who's doing very, very, very well. They're the bookies' favourite to win. And it would be, you know, whatever you think about Nigel Farage, having a party that is about 2 or 3 months old and winning a seat in Parliament would be no mean feat.
And we've seen over the local elections, the European elections, just the erosion of those tribal loyalties to the big parties.
Yeah. I mean, what we don't know, and there was a really interesting poll last week from YouGov that put the Lib Dems ahead of everyone, with the Brexit Party second and then the Tories and Labour after that. What we don't know is whether that will last. There's always a bit of a dip in support for the big parties after European elections, because I think the electorate are smart. They know it's a different election. They know it's a different electoral system. The big question in our politics is when we go back to a general election, first past the post, do people think, actually, I need to be voting Tory or Labour, because they're the ones who could win?
Well, not always, but lots of people vote differently in a general, don't they?
Let's look for something other than politics.
Yeah,
if we can find it.
Inside the Daily Mail this morning, obesity is the new smoking. That doesn't mean you should smoke your burger.
No, and it won't cheer you up either. But what they're saying is that actually now, with smoking going down, they've found a new link between our habits and our health, and they're saying that actually the causal link between obesity and cancer is very, very strong indeed. And by 2035, the numbers of people with obesity-related cancer are going to skyrocket.
And as a wider issue, obesity is a bigger killer now, isn't it, than smoking? Yeah,
and it's on the rise. I mean, we're still behind the United States, but sadly we're catching up.
I teased you about this an hour ago. This is an amazing show. Mail fail, it says here in the Sun. The past post. A postcard that arrived how late? 112 years late.
Yeah, I feel duty-bound to say that what the Royal Mail are saying in that story is they reckon that this postcard must have dropped out of their system and then someone found it and stuck it back in. They're denying the fact that it was actually sitting in some sorting room for 112 years. But it's a nice story, and it's actually quite sad, because he's writing to this lady to say, I might not be able to make it at Christmas.
Christmas 1907.
Absolutely, yes.
God.
With Edwardian Frank on it.
Imagine if that just suddenly came through the door, unannounced.
I love whatever's happened in that chain of it actually arriving in 2019.
Yeah.
I love the diligence of every person who's been involved in that.
No, absolutely. It would be lovely to know where that card had got to and whether someone picked it up, and if so, who. But
I really hope whoever received it hasn't been charged extra for, you know, sort of unpaid postage charges.
No, absolutely.
A century's worth of them.
A century missed bills.
It's a good message for HMRC. It's on its way.
It's in the post.
Yeah.
It'll be another 112 years. Anna, thank you very much indeed.
Lovely to see you. Thank you.